Manpreet, I have a query.
Yeah.
So Manpreet, actually, suppose that we have created three subnets: management, public, and private, right? And then we have deployed the Palo Alto in the management subnet, right? Management zone, right? So is it possible to route all the traffic, or if either in a private or public will go through the filter? Can we apply the filter on the firewall for all the subnets? Suppose that suppose the public subnets, wants to communicate with a private subnet or management subnet, right? So is it possible to route the traffic first to the firewall, right? And then it will go to the internet. For I'm talking about the public. Suppose the public user trying to access internet. So instead of sending the traffic through the internet gateway, can we apply filter first on firewall, then we'll forward it to the internet? Can we do it?
Yes, we can do that, right? That scenario I will cover. That scenario I will cover. Right here in this scenario, we are covering that outbound traffic, right? But if somebody has to access my services, right, they have to access that request through that firewall, right? So if I have any DLP solutions or any layer 7 antivirus, anti-spyware policies I enabled on the firewall, that scenario I will cover.
Okay.
Right. So right now I'm asking the query about this scenario. In this scenario, right? So if you have any query about that deployment part, if you are clear with that deployment part, I will jump to that next scenario. Are we clear with this?
Yeah, it's clear, Manpreet. And suppose that we have created a private ENI, right? And all the public and private subnet, we are pointing towards the private ENI, right? So my question is,
sorry. We created public and private ENIs. After that, what you said?
Public and private ENI we have created on the firewall, right? So we are suppose that if public or private subnet wants to talk with the management, we are routing the traffic towards the private ENI, right?
No, I have created one public ENI. I have created one private ENI.
Yes, so private, we are pointing the traffic from private subnet towards the
private ENI.
Yeah. Suppose that someone user sitting in private subnets wants to talk with the management subnet. So the traffic use the next hop private ENI, right? Next hop as a private ENI, right?
Yes.
So my question is, suppose that we have another subnet, right? Like private 2 subnet, which we have created in a different region, or sorry, in the different available AG, right? And for that, is it possible to create a separate private ENI instead of we have a single private ENI, right? So is it possible?
Yes,
we can do it, right?
Yeah, because in that firewall, I have a multiple interfaces free, right? So just create one more subnet, one more ENI, and attach that ENI to your Palo Alto, right? So I have a 7 interfaces available in this my Palo Alto.
Okay, yeah. So sub interface concept also apply here, right? Sub interface like ETH 1.10, it's like we create on the firewall, right? Based on the VLANs, right? ETH 1.10 sub interface we create, ETH 1.2, right?
So
we create on.
If I am not wrong, right, then on the virtual environments, we cannot create a sub interfaces. If I am not wrong, I have to check this on the Palo Alto website, right? Because in my experience on the cloud side, I never see a virtual interfaces on the firewall. I have to once cross check this on the Palo Alto website.
Okay.
Although I know that if I have a 14 interfaces, and like now you are saying that if we want to create a 14 separate environments, right? So what I will do, I will create a 14 ENIs, and attaching that 14 ENIs,
different subnets.
And that ENIs I will attach with this interface. But here I also need to remember that if I am using which family EC2 instance I am launching, because every EC2 instance has its own capability, that how many ENIs they can attach, right? If you have to attach that 14, then I think I have to go to that X large family where I can attach that.
Okay.
Right.
Got it, yeah.
Okay, guys. So tell me quickly if you have any queries with this setup, right? Then we will jump to that HA1.
Yeah, Manpreet, so I have a query here in this only.
Yeah,
so, like in interface 1/1 and 1/2, like we have selected DHCP option. So how
you can select it manually.
Yeah. So in this example, like how it got mapped, that particular subnet, like did we map the same thing in the EC2 part? How it picked actually that same subnet?
I didn't understand. Sorry.
Okay. Please click on that any of the interface DHCP client, that option. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it took that IP 10.0.1 that belongs to, I think, public subnet, right?
Yes.
Sorry, private subnet.
No, this is a public.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, public subnet. Okay. So how it picked the same subnet here in this Palo Alto?
So what I did,
mapping we did. Yeah.
No. Okay, let me tell you, because when I configured this, right, I attach a public ENI, right? Then I attached a private ENI, right? So first interface will pick that first ENI which I have attached, and then what else I have attached, it will pick that ENI.
That ENI where we mapped it, that I think I missed it. Can you show me like where we did that mapping?
Yeah. One second, let me show you. We selected that instance here, right? And in actions, go to that network settings. Right here, I attached it. So if I, let's suppose if I will detach that, that interface will goes down. Let's suppose I will detach private ENI. Right. So now I have detached that private ENI from my firewall. So let's see if that interface goes down. In few minutes, that interface will goes down, because now right now my ping is not working. Right. In few minutes you will see. So this is the way we attach that ENIs with my firewall, right? So allow me 15 to 20 seconds, that interface will goes down. Yeah, anyone has any other query? I will deploy one more firewall in a HA, right? In that, if you have missed anything, right, you can see that. Are we okay currently with this setup?
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Okay, but now I'm also seeing that why it is taking too much time. Ideally, it should goes down immediately. Come on, man. No changes.
Hello, sir. Can we create a one jump server? So by that jump server, we want to access. So in which zone in which subnet we will create a jump server in the management, correct?
Yes. Yeah, ideally this interface is not going down. This should goes down.
We can check with the CLI. That could be the direction.
You know that command to check that interface. I think show interfaces. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the IP? Admin. Okay, so show interfaces all, right?
So interface.
So interface, maybe you can put interface name. Ethernet.
This is showing up.
1/2.
I
Let's
think
do one thing.
we just changed from instance level, not from firewall. So
No.
maybe it will not down.
It should down because it is now not connected with any of the ENI, right? So it should, let's reboot it and we'll see that. Okay, guys. Meanwhile, now what we will do, in same setup, right? What I will do, I will create two firewalls in HA. Everything will be remain same. Only thing what I want to show you that if let's suppose this is my primary firewall, right? Current same setup, same private will go to with that. Everything will be same, right? So in AWS, right? So I will connect two firewall, one in active, one in passive. So what I want to achieve with that is that here I have to create one more subnet for my HA link, right? One more subnet for HA link so that it should be connect through HA. Apart from that, what else I want to prove? Here I have a management interface for my secondary firewall. Here I have a management interface for my primary firewall. I will create same setup for my public ENI. Same setup for my private ENI, right? As soon as this firewall or this instance goes down, this public ENI and private ENI should be automatically switched to this Palo Alto. From they will automatically release these interfaces from this firewall and they will automatically connect to my standby, which will be work as an active, right? So now we will do this. So for that one, the only change in the cloud side is that we have to now assign a role. I will delete what I lets me do what I will do. So I am creating because earlier I was in North Virginia region, right? So I am not modifying that setup because I want to see that firewall interface status, why it is not goes down. So quickly let's create one VPC. I will repeat all that steps. Security VPC subnet. I am using 10.0.0.0/24. Oh, sorry, 16. Security VPC I have created. I will create availability zones. My management subnet. I will go with that 10.0.0.0/24. Now I will create my HA subnet. It will be 10.0.1.0/24. I will create my public subnet. 10.0.2.0/24, and I will create one more subnet that will be my private subnet. Ten dot zero dot P.0/24. Okay. So now I will create a routing table. Right, I will create two route table. One security public route table. This is my security public route table, and this will be my I think I missed one thing, private route table. While creating that public route table, have I selected security VPC? Anyone noticed? Yes, no, no.
No.
No, I selected it. Okay. So VPC I have created, subnets I have created, route table I have created. So in my public subnet, right, let me call my management subnet and a public subnet. And in my private subnet, let me call my HA, because for HA and for private subnet, I don't want to send any traffic to that internet. So these will be my private one. So I will create one IGW internet gateway. I will attach that internet gateway with my VPC. Which VPC? Security VPC. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let me see. Right, so you see, in that setup, I removed that private ENI from my firewall, so my interface is now showing down. So where I was, okay. So I created that IGW, and after creating that IGW, I have attached. Yes, this is attached to my VPC. I have created VPC, I have created subnets, I have created routing tables, I have created IGW. So now from firewall perspective, let me launch one EC2. Yeah, firewall. I want two firewalls in active passive, right? So I will select it here. Go to this marketplace. Palo Alto. With base model. Continue. Security pair. Oh my God, I have to again create London security key.
Hello, Manfred.
Yes.
Yeah, those firewall, the one you are launching, are they on free firewall?
Sorry.
The firewall, the one you are launching, are they on free firewall?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in VPC, I am selecting my security VPC. Security VPC, I am calling both firewalls in my management subnet. I want public IP for them. So I said yes, create security group. Let's go with that FW security group. By default, they are allowing HTTPS and SSH. I will launch these two. Okay, so one second. So guys, meanwhile that is launching, right? So let me see. I'm in North Virginia region, right? Let me go to EC2. Let me terminate this setup. And another important thing which I have to do is I have to release my first disassociate and release my public IP. Done. Another thing which is charging me is my volume, that's 60 GB. I cannot delete it until that firewall is not deployed. Okay, guys. So basically, this is a VM series at Palo Alto website, right? Here they have mentioned the setup, that what are the setups I have to follow, right? So I am using this. So active pass. So if you will go for a checkpoint, right? So for that checkpoint, they have a separate role policies requirement. Similarly for Palo Alto, they have a separate one, right? So if you will go to their requirement, right? So here they have mentioned that once you have to move your interfaces from one primary to secondary. So these roles and permissions should be attached. Attached network interface, describe network interface, detached network interface, and describe instance, right? So now what I am going to do, one second. I'm in London instance, right? So my both Palo Altos, meanwhile it is launching, what I will do, I will jump to IAM. Okay. So I created one policy. I will tell you that how I created, right? So in that policy, what things I have covered, I have covered same thing, detached network interface, attached network interface, describe instance, and describe network interfaces, which they have a requirement. Attached network interface, describe network interface, detached network interface, and describe instance. But before doing that, right? So when I am going to IAM, right? So in this IAM, you see we have this policies, right? So these policies are AWS policies, AWS managed policies, right? So just remember from interview perspective, right? We have a three types of policies. One is AWS managed policies, second is custom policies, and third is inline policies, right? So when here I am creating a policy, right? Now this policy I am creating for myself, right? So this will be considered as a custom policy. So here I want this custom policy for what, right? I want a custom policy for my EC2 instances on which I will deploy that firewall. So I select that EC2 instance, right? So in that EC2 instance, what actions I want to allow, right? My first action was I want to attach network interfaces, right? So you just select it here. When I search that network, right? So it is sharing all these in list of services. So I have to select detached network interface. Similarly, where is attached network interface, right? So what was third one? Describe network interface. So where is this describe? Yeah, this one is described, right? So I selected three, and what was that fourth one? Describe instance, right? So these three I have covered. So in that describe instance, where is that? Yeah, this one, right? So I selected that four permissions for that. You want to allow this for any specific EC2 instance or for all, right? So I selected for all. I created on the next test. Failover policy. So if you see in that, right? So what things I have covered? I have covered describe instance, detach instance, right? So this is that Palo Alto requirement. So I created that policy, right? So now they are saying that if you want to switch that interfaces from primary to secondary, that ENIs from primary to secondary, right? Then you have to assign that policies to that EC2 instances. So for that, what I will do, I will create one role. What role? Follow. Let's create a role. I want to select for that AWS services for what for EC2 instance. In EC2 instance, I will select which policy I have created, right? Anyone I can use, I selected it, this next, right? What will be my role name? PA failover role, right? So I created this role, right? So under this role, as I said that I created one custom policy, right? In that custom policies, as per that requirement, I mentioned that these permissions should be given to this role, right? So let's select what role was this. This was PA role, right? In this role, what permissions I have given? I have given this policy, and in this policies, whatever the Palo Alto requirement was, I have mentioned it here. So they want that these 4 permissions should be on that EC2 level. So I have created that role. So now let's see. Okay, right. So these are currently in that initializing state. So let's select. This will be my primary, and this will be secondary, right? So now I have to give that permission to my both firewalls. So I've selected secondary, action, security, modify IAM role. I have given that permission to this EC2 instance. Similarly, I selected my primary, go to security. I have given permission to this EC2. Right. So now I have a permission for these 2. So apart from that, what we have created 4 subnets, right? Now I have to go to that network interfaces. Let me see which firewall has which IP. My primary has 18 and secondary has 3. So this one is my primary management. Right, these are automatically created. So now what I have to create, I have to create one public ENI. I will create only 2 public and private ENIs for one firewall, right? And as per this role, once my firewall goes down, this should be automatically switched to that secondary firewall, right? So this is my public ENI. So I am calling it under a public subnet. Security group, I am using that firewall security group. This is my public ENI. This is my private ENI. So I am calling it under private subnet. We did same thing, right? We created one management phase in our previous design. Then we created public ENI. Then we created a private ENI. So this one is my private one, right? Yeah. Done. But here, what additional we are doing? We are creating a HA interfaces, right? HA ENI. Because primary HA ENI, I will call under HA subnet. This one will be for my primary firewall. Primary HA ENI. Right, and one more I need to create. secondary HA ENI. This will be also in a HA subnet. So basically in this, what we are going to do, we are creating my PA1, right, with management interface, right? This is my secondary firewall. This will also have a secondary management interface. I have created two HA link, right? One HA link will be attached with this firewall. This will be my HA1, and second HA link ENI I will attach with this, right? So this will be my HA2. So these two ENIs will attach. Apart from that, one will be a public ENI, right? And one will be a private ENI. These will not attach. I have not created these two for my secondary firewall, right? So the role I have created, right? Under that role, I have given that permissions to this EC2 instance. As soon as this EC2 instance goes down, these two interfaces, these two ENIs should be automatically jumped to this secondary firewall. And on this PA platform, I have to configure that HA so that as soon as this firewall goes down, my passive should be active. So this is what we are going to do.
One more thing here, sir.
Yes, sir.
So basically, how do you provide the internet access to a management interfaces here?
So we have not created that routing table, right? So this is my routing table, right? So in that routing table, I have to go to that edit route. Thank you for reminding me because I missed it. Internet gateway, and internet gateway, that will be IGW. Thank you, sir. And for that subnet association, that public and management are there. So now similarly for that private one, HAN are there. So what I need to do, I have to define that for that private subnet, when they have to go to the internet, they should go to my network interface, and in that network interface, they should hit to my private ENI. Then, and one more important thing I have to mention is that for my public ENI, where is my public ENI? Now they should not check source and destination, right? I will do that source and destination checks on a firewall level. Similarly for my private ENI, private ENI should also not perform source and destination check. Other than that, this one is my secondary HAENI. Done. Right, so this part is completed. So let's jump back to my primary firewall. So for this primary firewall, let's attach that interfaces. Currently it is only having a management interface. Network settings, my primary HA. Now action, network settings, HA is attached. Now public ENI I have to attach with this. And private one. Done. So from design perspective, my primary Palo Alto looks Why it is not showing me? Something goes wrong. This is my management. Let me select attach network interface. I selected this. So 1 was my HA, 0 was my management. Done. Okay, now it is showing 4. 0 is my management, 1 is my HA, 2 was my public, and 3 was my private, right? So for my primary one, I have attached public ENI and a private ENI, but for my secondary firewall, I attached only HA link, right, with that management perspective. So one important thing I already did, I disabled that source and destination check for my public ENI and private ENI. Just cross verify if I have already did that. Yes, that is already disabled. Similarly for private ENI, go to action, source and destination check. That is also done. So now what else important part is pending with that public ENI is that I have to allocate one public IP and assign to my public ENI. So go to that elastic IP, allocate one public IP for that. Right, and action associate that with my public ENI. So I will select my, where is my public ENI? This one. Done. Okay, so this part is done. Now let's see if my firewall is up. HTTPS. Another firewall IP is 18. Now I need putty keygen. Come on, man. I'm loading my all files. That London security key. London security key. Let's save. Okay, so this is done. So now let's select firewall IP, save that private key. Admin. Configure set management, then username, admin, then what is password? Password I'm using admin123, ADMIN123, ADMIN123. This was 18 and ADMIN admin. Sorry. This one is 3 load call that private key for login. Okay. Configure set management config. Username is my admin and password I will say why. You will also not allow me to comment. Let me see. ADMIN password is it is not allowing me to commit. Anyone has any idea why?
Password did not update it. You just need to
Now it is giving me. I think they have some
you have
password policies.
Yeah, Manpreet, correct.
Oh. So in this lab, we will not go in much detail, right? So we will just shut our primary after configuring that HA, right? And we just will see that if our interfaces will switch from primary to secondary, because now I just see the time. So let's wait for next 15 to 20 more minutes. And hopefully in that 15-20 minutes, our lab will be completed. Okay, so let's log in.
Meanwhile, could you please explain me the architecture what we are following once more? I'm sorry for this.
No problem.
I'm sorry for this. Please.
Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry. Because once I will reboot both firewalls, right? During that, I will explain the architect, right? So I don't want to waste much time. Let's commit and reboot that firewall. Meanwhile, I will explain that architect. So first of all, let me see if that interface is which I have connected with, which was my primary one. My primary was 18. Okay, so this one is my primary and this one is my secondary. So let's modify the host name. This one is my secondary firewall. And this one is my, come on, ma'am. This one is my primary. Done. So my primary, my first link will be my HA. Okay. Secondary one will be my, do you remember I connected my primary ENI, public ENI first or a private? Anyone has any idea? No?
Hey,
Let's go with that untrust. If we will see another subnet IP, then we will switch it. Security zone. This will be my untrust. From IPv4 perspective, I will select that DHCP one. Done. And this will be my trusted. And in config perspective, router, I will go with default. Trust, and this will be my internal route.
One more thing. What's
Yes,
the
sir.
meaning of here DHCP? Means these IP will be changed after some time, or how it works basically? I'm not able to understand. the
So
concept.
see, either I have an option, right? What I can do, where is my EC2 instances? Right, so these are my EC2 instances, right? So if you want to manually assign that IP addresses, you can manually assign to that interfaces what is currently configured to that ENI. Other option is that go to your network interfaces, right? Let's suppose this is my, when I'm creating, right, that ENI. So here I'm saying that auto assign IP, right? If you want, if you have a fixed subnet and from that you want to assign a specific IP address, select that this is my public ENI. For that custom one, you want that only this IP should be there, right? So you can select it there, what IP you want to assign, and that IP you can assign it on this interface. Right now,
So
yeah,
in
yeah.
this case, if we enable the auto assign, then in that case, the IP would be allocated automatically, correct?
Yes, yes.
And it will change or it will not change after some time.
It will change if I will delete that ENI and if I will reattach it, right? And if you will reboot your Palo Alto, that you will get that same IP address until you will not delete that ENI and attach it to another ENI. That's why I'm not fixing it, because I know that the IP addresses I am getting from my EC2 instance, right? So in future, if I will reboot that firewall, I will reboot that firewall, not that EC2 instance, right? And that on that EC2 instances, on the backend, I am attaching that ENIs, and that ENIs has that IP address which is auto-picked, so they will not change. But in live scenarios, generally organization fixed one standard like 10 and 11 for primary and secondary, right? Or 252, 253, right? So based upon your organization standards, you can also pick that. So right now what I did, I configured.
So please one more.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
So these IPs are fixed to the instances or
Yes,
TCs.
yes, and this firewall will pick that IP addresses from that EC2 instances, right, which I have attached.
And EC2 instances are getting the auto sign IP from Elastic NIC. correct?
ENIs, yes, which I have attached it.
Okay. So if you want to increase the memory or something, or if you want to change the EC2 instance type in future, then in that case, we can
Just
reattach the existing NIC.
just detach that ENIs from that EC2 instance, and once you have a new EC2 instance, attach to that EC2 instance that your existing ENIs. Done, sir?
Done, sir.
Okay,
Next time I'll
so
ask. Thank you.
no problem. So what we did so far, we created only interfaces, right? And now let's commit this change here. Meanwhile, we will configure that secondary firewall. This is my secondary firewall. I will only configure my HA interface. That's it. And it will take some time to up. So let's meanwhile create policy. Trust to untrust. My source will be trust. Destination will be untrust, and action is allowed. I think I have to reboot that firewall. Interfaces are not coming up. This is also not coming up. Go to that device. Operations. Reboot. Reboot that device. Guys, I will be back in 1 minute. Okay, guys, I am back. So let's see. Yeah, someone asked me that setup. So here what we are doing, right? So we again created that VPC. Right, in that VPC, we created 3 availability zones. One management, one is your public, one is private, and one subnet I have created for HA, right? I launched my 2 firewalls. One is primary firewall and one is secondary firewall in management, right? And the HA subnet which I have created 2 HA ENIs, right? One for my primary firewall and one for my secondary firewall. So two, and after creating that HA ENIs, one HA ENI I have attached with my primary firewall and one with my secondary. Management interfaces are already available because when I launched, these are automatically created. Then public ENI I have routed towards my IGW, right? And for that private one, I created one private ENI attached to my primary, and I have routed this traffic to my private ENI, right? Similarly, I created one public ENI and I have attached it here with my this interface so that all the traffic go to my public subnet, and from that here it goes to that in IGW, and from it goes to internet. For my private ones, they will send that traffic to my private ENI, and then private ENI will send that request to my firewall. It will NAT that and send it back. So if I have not missed it, I have also allocated a public IP to my public ENI, and I have also disabled the source and destination checks on my ENI levels so that my firewall should process source and destination checks on the packet level. So now what second, let's see if that interfaces are up. This is my primary. Okay. So HA link is up. On secondary also, that HA link is up because I attached that HA, that's it. So from DHCP perspective, let me cross verify if 3 was created for my private one. Done. And this 2 was created for my public one. Done. And this was my HA, and this is my management one. So now what I have to do, I have to configure a HA. So how we configure that HA in HA availability zone? First of all, I need to enable the HA. Right, so group ID, anything we can select. Let's suppose we go with that default one. Right, and what is my HA1 IP? What is my management IP of secondary firewall? This is 10.0.0.2.1.4. All right, so here I have configured my secondary device management interface IP. Right, and From HA perspective, preempt value device priority, I have selected. This is my primary, right? So let's select minimum here. Let's go with this 50. Done. And let's commit it. Meanwhile, let's go to that secondary firewall. Click on HA. Enable HA. Group ID I selected. What group ID I selected? Any idea? 1. Group ID I selected 1. And what is the management IP address of my primary firewall? It is 10.0.0.121. Done. And priority 100, that is okay. Selected.
So
Okay.
Manpreet, you should mention the peer IP, right?
Yes, peer IP of my HA1, right?
Yes, right. 10.0.0. Yeah, right. Yeah.
If you think, right, if you see any mistake in my config, let me know. We will correct it.
Yeah, sure, Manpreet. Thanks.
Right. Okay. And now I will go to that HA config. And in HA communication. I'm using my management link, right, for HA communication. And for that data link, I'm using my 1/1, right? And what is the IP address of my HA? 1.18. Net mask was 255.255.255.0 and gateway was 10.0.1.1.
And Manpreet, my question is, when we configure HA interface, right, on both firewall, right? So the IP which we assign on HA interface should be in the same subnet, right?
Yes. Yeah. Without that, HA will not work, right?
So, but in the HA one, you have mentioned 10.0.0, right? And here I am seeing 10.0.1 dot something 18.
Because that is for my HA pairing, right? So my HA pairing is working. See, we have two links. One is control link and one is data link. So that data link will work on my HA 1/Ethernet 1/1, and my control link will work through my management interface, right? You see, I have two interfaces. One will manage my control link and one for a data link. This firewall is using two links for HA.
Okay. But I see in the production, usually we assign a IP address on HA, right, within a same subnet. So that's the reason I asked you.
Okay. Here it is not showing any config. Do I need to commit it?
Marius?
Yes.
No. Do I need to reboot? No, I got that option. So I selected my 1/1. What is the IP address for my secondary HA? It is 1.120. Subnet is 255.255.255.0. then 10.0.1.1. This one is okay. Let's see the HA status. HA1 is down. Okay. One second. This firewall is following which security group? This security group, and in this security group, guys, do you know which port is required for HA communication? Or else I will go with that all. Right. So now you see that as soon as the config is synced, right? So these two interfaces on the secondary firewall is automatically configured as a layer 3. So guys, we have a less time. If you guys can extend, then I will do that routing on the virtual router policies and the netting, then generate EC two instances on the private, the send that traffic. So that is the same setup, right? So what now I want to prove is that as soon as this config will be done, right? So currently on my primary EC2 instances, I have that 4 interfaces, right? And this is currently in the active state. So if I will configure that netting and the policies, right, it will process that internet traffic. As soon as this firewall goes down, right, these should switch to my secondary firewall, and that secondary firewall interfaces should be up, right? So yeah, tell me, can we now down this firewall and see that if that interfaces are switching, or you want a proper testing like generate a traffic from EC2 instance, create a policies and the net config? If you have a time, I'm okay with that.
Can we do the same tomorrow? Initiating traffic and doing the failover and then test whether the NIC are switching or not.
Tomorrow we will do that separate labs, right? So we will
Which
connect.
bunch?
So I want to finish this active passive. So because there is nothing in that, right? So just different thing is that we need to create one role. In that role, as per that Palo Alto, we need to define that 4 policies and assign to that EC2 instance. So let me.
So, sir, it is more happen means it is burdening on us. Madid, this is enough for us. Can we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, I will.
Rest of the things
I
and
will
day
explain.
after tomorrow. Because we have a number of questions over here as well. If you finish, then we won't be able to ask you questions.
Yeah, you can ask it, right? So meanwhile, what I will do, I will just try to shut my primary and we'll see that if that interface is switch to my secondary, right? So currently this primary has that 4 interfaces. I just want to check that the policy which I have assigned is working correctly. So this is passive. Now my H is correctly configured. Right. As soon as I will down my primary interface, a primary firewall, let's suppose my primary firewall goes down. Yeah, this will take some time to stop it. So meanwhile, if you have any question, you go ahead, please.
My question is, now we are running on some OS and PAN OS or something is running. VM model is something and it is running on some PAN OS. Now we have limited, we want to basically upgrade the instance. So how can I upgrade the instance memory without in, without touching the VM, running VM? Is it possible? VM is PAN or PAN. Can we increase the instance? Then what's the procedure and how can we do this? Because we recently faced a big issue because of the same.
So you want to increase the instance,
size.
right? Right. So yeah.
Not I don't want to increase the CPUs on the memory on the instance. We want to increase.
No, so you want to increase that on the Palo Alto side, but not on the instance level.
No, we want to increase the size on the machine.
Yeah, yeah, you just select it, just stop that instance, go to that actions, right? Instance settings, right?
Okay.
And here it is currently not stopped it, right? So after that, you just change that instance type. You can increase the CPUs and the memories based upon that.
But in that case, are you sure the serial number or the license would not be disturbed?
Yeah, because that you have buy it from the Palo Alto marketplace, right? So that is a separate Palo Alto firmware on which your license number, your serial number, your all the license IDs are deployed, right? So here you are just changing the backend hardware, so it will not impact.
Okay.
I have stopped it. It is taking too much time, so it is still stopping it. Yeah, guys, anyone has any other question? So from just remember that what we are doing, right? So whenever you have to deploy a firewall, in our practicals today, we created VPC, then we created respective subnets, right? After creating that subnets, we created IGW, Internet Gateway, and attached to VPC. Then we created route tables, right? And then we attach subnet associations, that in that routing table which subnets will work, right? And then we created ENIs, right? After creating that ENIs, we disable source and destination check for my public ENI and private ENI. Then we allocate public IP. Public IP we allocate in my public ENI, right? And then what we did in that private route table, we route our all traffic to my private ENI, right? And then on 6th point, I deployed one firewall through that marketplace. right? After deploying that, what we did, we attach that ENIs to that firewall, right? We attach that ENIs to that firewall. After that, we access that firewall, we configure that firewall, right? And if all these points are correct, all 7 points are correct, my traffic should go through that firewall, right? And in HA, I followed same thing. Only thing I did extra is that I created one policy. In that policies, as per Palo Alto documentation, I created 4 permissions: attached network interface, detached network interface, describe network interface, and describe instance, right? So once you give that permissions to one role, and I assigned that role to my firewall EC2 instance, that's it. So now let's see. Okay, so now my firewall is stopped. First of all, see, let's my failover is actually, now this is active. So like you see, after stopping it, it takes too much time to stop it, right? So similarly, it will take again some time to switch that interfaces from primary to standby. Guys, other than that, is anyone has any query? Because understand that concept, right? Because now after that, whatever designs we will deploy, right? So I will tell you that, okay, this is the way we will deploy, right? So I will give you some tasks to create that design. So if you know that how to deploy that firewall, how to configure it, right? So then only you will able to complete your design testing. Otherwise, you will face some challenges. So if you have any query, let me know. Okay, guys, I think tomorrow we will perform that same lab, because I know that after performing that lab, I will jump to that another scenario, because this is taking too much time. From config perspective, I'm pretty sure that there is no issue. The only challenge is that this is taking much time. Are we good to close this session?
Yes, Nathan.
Time for us. Okay, guys, so tomorrow again we will perform this lab. So thank you so much for joining this class. Have a nice day. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.